Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's class is going to take us back to the basics and get us moving from our center and our core. So this will be a great class as a refresher if you have taken a little break from Pilates, or maybe you're new to movement and you just want to figure out if you're doing it the right way. This is going to kind of tune us into where our movement comes from and get us really super centered before we take on more advanced movements in our practice. So go ahead, join me here on your mat and we'll get started. All right, starting at the front of your mat, decent amount of runway behind you. We want some space for the spine to roll down. You're gonna hold behind the knees, so really super low impact right from the start. Just starting to wake up our spine, creating space between the knees and the chest. And then inhale, lift the heart, close that gap between the knees. Exhale, pulling the belly away, rounding out the spine, and then inhale, lifting up. So starting to find some awareness in our center, our belly pulling in, kind of letting the feet do less and moving more from our center. So a cue that I've been using in a lot of my classes lately is, can you do that more from your center? Right, so I want you to think about that phrase. Every movement we add in here, can you do it more from your center? Really challenging that centering principle of Pilates. So now we're going to start to take a little pressure off of our feet and just kind of rest the toes on the mat. And we're going to keep doing that same movement. So trying not to let so much of our weight take us back and let us rock on the mat, but just again finding a little bit of our centering, our belly, our low back pressure down on the mat, and then lifting back up. This should also feel really nice if you have some tightness in your low back, maybe an old injury, maybe some imbalance, right hip, left hip. Notice if you're connecting evenly across the mat. And then we're going to take this one step further. So I want you to create a ball, making yourself as small as you possibly can, just hugging those knees in towards your nose. Now you're just going to start to rock without letting the toes touch on the mat in front of you and without letting yourself roll all the way back behind you, but just kind of finding that end range. So how far back can you go before you go all the way? How far forward can you go before you go all the way? Finding what muscles are kind of twitching to hold us into this position. And we'll just kind of rock here a few more times. Maybe closing the eyes, connecting deeper internally to your body, to your center. And then we're going to stay lifted. And maybe we can reach those arms in front and keep going, just trying to keep the same distance between our knees and our chest so that this doesn't become an extension of the hip. Rolling forward, just finding your sits bones. And then we're going to stay at the top here. Feet are going to come back onto the mat. And you're going to see how tall you can get. Maybe pulling yourself in, rising up to the highest point of the sits bones. And then we're going to start to come all the way down to our mat. So just noticing now, as we finally release our core and just let ourselves lay down, maybe we've got some space now in between each vertebrae. I just got a nice little bit of an adjustment, so that should feel good. If it doesn't, I don't know what to tell you. So starting here again, thinking about that center point, maybe even placing a fingertip or the hands across your abdomen. We're going to start by reaching just the leg out, just noticing the difference there. Maybe the hips want to shift, and then pulling that leg back in. So using our breath, we'll inhale as the leg extends, and then exhale, begin to pull it back in. Trying to reach out and place the heel back in the same spot, kind of building that body awareness, our proprioception, our awareness of our body in space, just a big fancy word. Inhale out, exhale, pull it back in. Starting to really pull in and feel those muscles contract across your belly. Pulling the belly button up and under the ribs. And we'll just try one last time, right side out, and then back in, and then we'll go from our left side. And then holding both of the legs in, now we're going to take our arms. So you're going to reach your right arm overhead, Maybe noticing if there's any kind of limitations with that reach, and then bring it back down by your side, and then the left arm's gonna start to reach out overhead. Noticing if the shoulders wanna switch, or maybe again, can we do it more from our core? So holding the belly in to find that reach, I start to find a little stretch across to my left side as my right arm reaches up, and then start to come back down, and then the left side will go. So this is starting to get into our anterior slings. This goes across our body like a Miss America sash or a seatbelt. So we're gonna start to extend the opposite leg back into this, and we'll do it when we start back up on our right arm reaching. So one last time, just the left arm reaches, and then come back in. And then this time as we reach our right arm, our left leg is gonna slide away. So reaching out, finding that oppositional stretch, and then pulling it back in. Reaching left arm, right leg out and away, and then pulling it back in. So feel the space, close the gap between the arm and the leg using your core. Inhaling, right arm, left leg out, and then exhale, start to pull it back together. One last time, left arm, right leg, and then we're gonna come back together. And then we're gonna reach right arm, left leg out and hold it there. So same thing, staying here, we're gonna add on. You're gonna use your belly to pull the arm and the leg across and touch together. So pull them up, exhale, tap, and then inhale, find that reach. So we wanna do this reach without letting the low back disengage. So that means that we're not gonna let our back arch and lift off the mat, but instead try to keep almost like a supported neutral pelvis here, so kind of a tucking imprint into the mat. Reaching up, inhaling back down. Now notice, are you pushing with that right foot? So maybe we can take a little pressure off the foot. Oh, there's my belly. Okay. Belly's gonna take a break if we let it. One last time, reach and stay. Now just your foot from your belly, can you flex it? Pulse it in an inch, in an inch. 5, 4, breathing. Last one, stay there. Like you're standing on the ceiling. Now maybe the left hand comes behind the head for support. Now you're gonna start to reach the arm towards the leg. Again, think ribs are gonna slide down over the belly button to curl and lift you. So the head should really feel light as a feather here. Exhaling, curling, lifting, trying not to push into the right foot. Here's 4. Last 3, you should be shaking. Here's 2. And last one here. On the release, let the arm and leg reach away, maybe noticing if you feel a little longer, a little different on that side. Bringing the arm and the leg back in. We're gonna do that again on the opposite side. So left arm, right leg, reach out in opposition. We start to use our center, maybe adding right hand on the belly just as a reminder to exhale, pull the leg in towards the arm above you. Inhaling, arm and leg reach out. Exhale, pull from the belly. And then inhale, start to release it. And now we have one sling system, one side of our body that's always gonna be a little bit stronger, a little bit weaker than the other. So this for me is my weak side. So what I notice is that my glutes start to take over, bigger muscle gonna take over the work. Glutes are the people pleaser of our body, right? They're just gonna do it, even though we didn't ask them to. One more time, we're gonna come up and stay lifted. Finding the belly, squeezing, trying to release the glutes, let the belly pick up the slack. Holding here, flex the foot like we're standing on the ceiling. We pull from the abdominals to pulse it in. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold it, maybe right hand behind the head for support. Head is light as a feather. We reach the arm to the knee. And then release back down. Belly button is pulling up under the ribs. Using that contraction from our center, exhale, reach. Trying not to let the leg take away from the abdominals, keeping that hamstring really long. One more reach, and then we're gonna relax. Reach, and then lower the arm, lower the leg, and just notice maybe we feel a little longer there. Take everything back together. Now we're gonna start to really bring our focus into some articulation in our spine. So we're gonna start just a pelvic tuck. As you exhale, feel the space between the small of your back and the mat become non-existent. So we're gonna imprint the spine, let the tail kind of curl up towards the ceiling or towards the backs of your knees. And then when you run out of that exhale, you're gonna inhale and let the pelvis kind of drop back into that neutral or flat position. As we exhale, start to imprint the spine, curling the tail, finding that tuck, and then inhale, bring that space back. Exhale, curling to tuck. Maybe again, notice if the feet are doing a little bit more than we asked them to. Maybe the glutes as well, and see if we can let the belly do the work. So as we relax the glutes, we should start to feel some twitching, some firing in those lumbopelvic muscles. Super important muscles to keep all of those organs in place. Exhaling, we tuck, find that little bit of a lift, and then release back down. Now we're going to continue, same idea, same concept, but add a little bit more of a lift. So using that tuck, can we lift maybe just one more vertebrae off the mat? And then come back down. So it's going to be a very small lift. You're not going to feel like you're going very far, but you're going to feel it more internally. Exhale, curl, start to pull that belly button in and up, and then maybe the belly button can lift just 2 more vertebrae. And then we can bring them back down. And as you go through this pattern of lifting just 1 more vertebrae than the next on each repetition, notice as you come back down, are you equal? Do you come down the same way that you went up, or is it a little clunky? One at a time, placing the ribs, the mid-back, the low back, the tail. Those hamstrings are probably starting to pick up some of the work at this point. See if you can let the belly do more, right? More from the center. Challenge yourself. We're gonna hold just about to the base of the shoulder blades, not coming up any higher than this today. And then from here, let's see if we can add the right hip lifting just 1 inch higher. So moving from our center, just finding a little bit of a twist. And then come back through center, neutral pelvis. And then lift the left hip just slightly higher. And then come back down through neutral. So as we hold this lift across our shoulders, can you feel the pressure changing right and left side? And can you try to make it more balanced? What changes in your body? Do you feel more belly, more glutes? Can't tell a difference, right? It's like the eye doctor, 1 or 2, they both look the same. They both feel the same. 1 more time, side to side. And then we're gonna find our neutral. Belly should be a little bit of shakiness in there, and then roll yourself back down. So finding that mat again, this time we're gonna take our arms up above our shoulders. So now we've taken some surface area away from our body. We're gonna have to work harder from our center. So same idea, we're gonna come right back up to the bottom of those shoulder blades. Holding when you get there. As you drop your right arm out to the right, try not to change the hips. Right now we're avoiding doing that twist that we were just doing purposefully. Inhale the left arm out to the left, and then come back up. Now you can go your own range of motion here. Maybe make it a smaller opening if that helps you to keep your control. We're all about the center today. Inhaling the left side open, and then exhaling back together. We'll do 1 last time right arm, 1 last time left arm, and then we'll take a nice big inhale, refill ourselves up with that breath, and as we exhale, really see how slowly we can go. So here's the nice big inhale, and then as we exhale, 1 piece. How slow can you go? How much can you move from the center? Can we relax those glutes? Ooh. And then we're back to our mat. Now from here, we're gonna add the knees into this arm lateral movement. So you're gonna drop your right knee out to the right, and then start to pull it back up. And then we drop the left knee out to the left, and then pull it back up. So just notice if you don't control it, right, the whole body kind of wants to sway with this. But if you do control it, there's almost this pressure through the heel that's not moving to keep the rest of you in place. And that pressure starts to send a wave of contraction through that right side anterior sling, a little bit of the left glute. We're gonna take one more of these knee drops side to side, and then we're gonna go back to our bridge. So holding center, take a nice big inhale, tuck, bring it back up to the shoulder blades, right at the bottom, no pressure on the neck stays nice and long. Now right knee's gonna open to the right, try not to let those hips change, and then come back together. Left knee opens to the left, it's almost like as the leg opens, little puppet string, pulling your hip up to the ceiling to keep the hip from going with the knee. Right? They can move independently of one another, we just don't usually focus hard enough to let that happen, to isolate those two joints. One more left knee, and then like I promised, we're gonna put those arms back in. Maybe let's take a break first. Right? I'm not a monster. You can go without the break, go for it. Roll it back up, hold it across the shoulder blades. Now as the left knee opens, the right arm opens. So use the left fingertips, keep reaching, 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 find that lift, and then come back together. Take it to the other side, right knee, left arm, lift through that right hip, don't let yourself collapse, and then come back together. Find that broadening across your shoulder blades, keep going side to side, opening and closing like a book, finding where the center, the kind of, what's it called, the spine of the book is holding you in place, right? The spine of your center is holding you in place here. One more time, side to side. Ooh, glutes, welcome to the party. And then we're gonna take an inhale, exhale, reach your arms overhead, both of them. And then you're gonna start to lower yourself down one piece of your spine after the next. And then let's take our legs out really super long and just feel the length that we've created in our spine at this point. So I don't know about you guys, but I feel taller and I love it. I will take every extra inch possible for my body. We'll take a nice big inhale, think about growing tall in two directions like you're being pulled apart. And then as we exhale, we're gonna revisit that roll up. So curling chin to chest, maybe bending into the knees if you need it. We're reaching up over those toes, and then fold over the legs when you get to the top. We're gonna go back the same way we came. So creating the space between the belly and the thighs, rounding back just like we started. One piece finds the mat behind you after the next, keeping the length that we've created. Head is very last, arms continue up and over. And we inhale into the stretch. We'll do this twice more, curling, lifting chin to chest, trying to reach through those arms, up and over. Find that belly pulling away from the tops of the thighs, creating that scoop. And we'll pull ourselves back, reaching forward and back, all in one movement from our spine. And then we'll take that inhale at the bottom. And then we'll exhale, continue back to the top. So this time we're gonna stay curling, lifting, holding from the top. And then we'll come up to a nice tall seat. All right, so now we're gonna take this into mermaid. So one shin comes in front, the rest is on the side of us here, or the other one's on the side of us. And I want you to feel the connection with your sits bones. So the bony points at the bottom of your pelvis. You might feel, let's see, I have my right leg in front of me, so my left sits bone is starting to want to lift. So really work to push it back down. Now this might not feel super comfortable for your left knee, so what you can do is take that leg and bring it around in front, creating more of a kind of crisscross applesauce vibe here. So left knee, I'm gonna try it here. But again, make this your own if that's what your body is telling you to do. Right hand is gonna come to our mat. We're gonna put the pressure into the heel of the right hand to push that sits bone down into the floor. So we're creating tension through the body, kind of tensegrity, lifting and pushing in the same movement, and then start to come back up, trying to keep that sits bone connected. We'll tee out the arms, and then we'll push into the right hand to send that sits bone down as we reach to our right. And then we straighten the arm and come back up. So again, it might not look like we're moving as much as we could possibly be, but we're moving a lot more internally than we could the other way. So less is more in this sense. Reaching over, pushing that hip down, and then come back up. And then we'll just try one more thing here, pushing the hip down, stay down here. Now you're gonna start to rotate. Pinky coming towards the right kneecap, and then inhale, stack the ribs back up. So we're purely folding over, kind of bringing the ribs on our left side towards the right knee, and then inhale, bring it back on top of the right ribs. So folding the ribs in half, and then stacking them back up. Get tall across that midline. One more time, round and reach, and then stack it up, get tall, press yourself to the top. We'll take our hands to our sides, our feet come to the floor in front, and then just a little rock side to side with those knees just to massage our glutes. And then we'll take left leg in front, right leg to the side of us, already feeling how the right sits bone wants to lift, but we're gonna send it back down. Left hand to the mat, we push into the heel of the hand, create that tensegrity as we reach over with our right arm, and then we come back up. Trying to keep the weight equal now as we press into that side, feeling the squeezing in from that left side oblique, and then we inhale, lift back up. Exhale, pushing into that sits bone, reaching over, and then lift back up. Last two like that, pushing, reaching. You might have one side that feels easier to stay connected than the other, right? Notice which that is for you. Maybe you have to repeat the other side. Wasn't sure. And then we'll add that rotation in a couple times, and then we'll be done here today. So rotating, folding those ribs in half, pinky to the knee, and then inhale, stack it back up, bring those ribs apart. So we're creating that fold or that tension in between our sternum and our belly button, kind of pulling together, and then we're creating that space, kind of widening the rib cage, reaching back overhead. Curling, folding, crunching into our stomach, our center, and then inhale, lengthening out, finding that space again. We'll go one more time, rotate, squeeze, pull the belly in, and then lengthen back out. We'll come all the way up. All right, now just revisiting where we started, because I always like to check in, see if this actually was beneficial and changed anything in your body, right? That would be nice. So we're gonna go back to that little rolling with a little bit more of a challenge. So right elbow, left elbow, come into our kind of knee crease here. You can cross hand over hand so that they end up on your shoulder. And then we're gonna find the knees coming in. So creating the tension, finding the center, kind of influencing where our movement is gonna stay controlled from. And then again, we're gonna find that rock. So now we really have to put the pressure on with our upper and lower abdominals to keep the elbows super glued to the knees. Maybe this is now easier for you. Maybe it's harder. Maybe we're fatigued at this point. But always a nice means of coming back and just noticing any changes in our body. And then we'll take our feet to the floor. We'll roll ourselves down. When we get to the bottom, we'll just take a mindful moment here. Again, letting the legs reach out long, noticing changes in our spine, differences in pressure across our shoulders, right side, left side. And maybe just closing the eyes here. Take a minute for giving yourself some movement today. Maybe it wasn't as challenging as you usually give yourself some movement, but from a nice centering point nonetheless, and it will benefit the rest of your movement for the end of time. So take one more big breath here, giving yourself gratitude for making time for yourself and your overall well-being today. And then you can hug the knees in, rock and roll yourself up to the top, and then have a comfortable seat. We'll take our hands to our heart, bow, give yourself grace. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I hope you feel more centered, stronger, empowered, right? Whatever the case may be, take that feeling along with you into the rest of your day, rest of your week, and let it change you for the better. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.